YouTube's a wanker, man. Look at this. Like, I uploaded the video and like 95% processed or whatever. But then also it said that it was uploaded and I refreshed, but it wasn't there. It didn't even say it was uploading anymore. Check my tablet, same thing. So I thought, oh, YouTube's deleted it somehow. And by that I mean it was a glitch. I don't mean they intentionally did it or anything like that. But went to re-upload it again and re-uploaded it. But look at that. Oh, it's there all of a sudden. You dicks. I get like four uploads a day. Some people get to upload more a day for some reason. I don't understand that. But I really hope this doesn't count towards my 4. Diabolical mixed ratings created by Eric Kripke, Caleb McLaughlin, Don Cheadle, Simon Pegg, Michael Cera, Francis Conroy, Christian Slater. I've also heard that Ben Schwartz and Grant Griffin are in it. It's good. Okay, I don't know if I started the, unpause the video after doing the diabolical review or not, but like I was about to, and I got a phone call from someone claiming they'd been my phone service provider. And she said, am I speaking to, I don't want to give away my mum's name, I'm just going to give a fake name from my mum. Say my mum's name is Alexis. Anyway, so my mum's name is Alexis. The person on the phone was saying, am I talking to Alexa Hamilton? No. Okay, should I write that down? Okay. And then she hung up. This stands as of 16 to 6 p.m. Jessica said that Joker was fantastic. And then she asked what the best movie ever made was. I said Whiplash. This Twitter as of the same time. When it's a fur con and the bunny man wants to touch your child, that's a no-no. But when it's Easter and the bunny man wants to touch your kid, that's fine. Apparently. Finished the Free Body Problem book series pretty good. I mean, like, Stuss, come on. Your take on media is crap. You call Visions crap, you call What If crap. DM me. My 2-year-old daughter uses words like vagina and vulva. I'm surprised she won't grow up considering them taboo. Now, yeah, that's... I don't really see a problem with a 2-year-old saying vagina and vulva, and it's, instead of using substitute words like, I mean, I don't know what you would have said for a girl, but for a guy, or sorry, let me be more inclusive, for a penis having person, you would have, instead of saying penis, you would have said something like PP. I don't know what the equivalent, I don't know what the female equivalent of the word PP is. But, there's nothing to be proud of. Like, it's... Yeah, it's... If you're normalizing it for your child, then there won't be, like... They won't consider it taboo and all that, but that doesn't really mean anything. The only thing I can think of is that you believe that we don't teach our kids to say those words because It's patriarchy, despite the fact that we don't teach our male kids to say penis. But whatever. Really? I had no idea that their marriage was on the rocks. But seriously, the bias is against Will. Like Gata is gonna get everything, and Will just. He might still have the money, but eventually that'll dry up, and then the only thing he has left is a loaded gun. No woman should be changing her name after marriage in 2022. Here's the thing. The woman chooses whether or not to change her name. It's not forced upon her. And instead of saying that no woman should do it, you should have just said, you don't have to change your name if you don't want to. Instead of, you're not necessarily forcing people, but you're just saying that no woman should do it. Thank you at Gay Times, because that exists for some reason. This is such a good argument for supporting LGBT. People need our own groups and representation, and our rights are conditional on accepting gender ideology. I actually saw a video last night about Carl explaining why the T in LGBT really shouldn't be there. It's because L, G, and B, lesbian, gay, and bisexual, are sexualities. T is a gender. They are not the same. Stop confusing gender and sexuality. So, and then seeing a guy replying to someone saying, "Here's the thing, Emily, you're bi, not lesbian or gay. You don't get a say in how we refer ourselves, and we don't care what you think. Get back in your lane." But, I mean, what's the proof that means that the L's and the G's are teaming up to defeat the B's? That doesn't mean anything. You need to actually provide the context. What did Emily say? Show me what Emily said. No, I'm not going to look up Brett's account. I probably won't be able to find it if I looked for it really hard, because Twitter's system just sucks. So you need to provide us evidence of what Emily said. Instead of saying, that proves it, we need to destroy the LGBT alliance, they're transphobic. No, they're not transphobic. Or at least not all of them are. You're just saying that transgenderism shouldn't be part of LGBT because they are two separate things. Because you can't be straight and gay at the same time. You can't be straight and bi at the same time. You can't be gay and straight at the same time. You can't be gay and bi at the same time. You can't be bi and straight at the same time. You can't be bi and gay at the same time. But you can be one of those and trans at the same time. Yeah, this person replied saying that they had a hilarious conversation with that man the other day. No, lesbian or gay people are trying to redefine bisexuality. Don't be idiotic. Then what is bisexuality? Attraction both sexes, obviously. Incorrect. Attracted to more than one gender. And the proof is that the Google definition is sexually attracted not exclusively to people or of one particular gender, attracted to both men and women. Although that Google definition actually proves Brett right. The blog may just for correcting them. Except you didn't correct them, you proved yourself wrong. Like, let me zoom in on this definition. Sexually attracted, not exclusively to people of one particular gender, which means that you like more than one gender. So at least two. But then after the semicolon it says attracted to both men and women. So that's exclusively to both sexes, right? The word you're thinking of is pansexuality. Look at that. it, there's a lot for Marcus, and it's all recent. Marcus Sleepweed Malvo's not deserving of Mad Lad. You know that Mad Lad isn't a honorific title, right? The series about people doing mad things. They can be good things, crazy things, or in this case, evil things. Crap. Rudy Hussein is one of the most watched episodes. It is a really good episode. I've had a lot of people saying, but this guy is evil, while completely forgetting General Buck Naked who massacred villages, Vlad the Impaler who impaled women and babies, or the Bjork Soccer who tried to send her an acid bomb. Point being, just because someone is featured in Mad Lads doesn't mean they are a good person. We didn't have a good Mad Lad until the 4th episode with Mad Jack Churchill. Didn't you choose to give the Marquis de Sade the Mad Lad title because he was evil, though? It was because his only achievements have been raging nonce. Shut up. Eat a dick, Marks. Where she used to cite all her murderers as Mad Lads in the past year than just being cocksuckers. No, I've refused the mainstream ones like Dahmer, Bundy, etc. since everyone knows about them and there are hundreds of hours of documentaries about them. Honestly, didn't expect a response from a content creator I watch habitually. I love you, Mark. Just find that inconsistent, lol. I try to cover lesser known ones that don't have constant documentaries on Netflix. I'm fine covering murderers and serial killers, just not ones that everyone already knows about. Drone crews have killed more people than nearly anyone in the military in the past decade, but they seldom get the same recovery periods or mental health screenings as other fighters. The unseen scars those who killed via remote control. Did someone be able to get bad feelsies for drone striking children? Okay, before I read this out, I've heard that there was a. Sorry, it's me. That's my Switch controller. The owner of the Lives of TikTok account, who was anonymous, was actually doxxed by someone working for, I think, the New York Times. But the same person that did it was also crying on TV about harassment and all. Let's get into the tweet. In fact, it might be by this person. Washington Post. Maybe. I would need to see a photo. Interestingly, Lives of TikTok appears to be Orthodox and to work at a realty that caters to the Orthodox, so I'm guessing the fallout of having her name revealed is going to be pretty minimal. Yes, it's just her life on the line. Sure, it's nothing. She can recover easily. Do not make the joke. 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 Sorry, my brother just went off because he set an alarm for himself. Anyway, I won't make the joke. I'm too upset at Lives of TikTok being named. Were Warren's named the Jew? Is that the joke you were going to make? That's sick, Mark. I'm telling the Scottish police. I give you 15 minutes before you delete this. Also, welcome back. How about Liddy Emin Mad Lads, the absolute legend? His Excellency President for Life Field Marshal Al Haji Dr. Idi Amin Dada VC DSO MC, Lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, and conqueror of the British Empire and Africa in general, and Uganda in particular. We went all the way around the M&S like this. So proud of myself. That takes me back, but you're supposed to rub a big pile of them into their hair. I'm watching them spend all 5th period geography picking them out. The Netflix stock plummeting falls in line with what I said in the Hays Code video. The Hays Code failed, and non-code competitors exploded in popularity because people were sick of moral grandstanding, preachy BS, and having a social code pushed upon them. So they sought alternatives because people didn't want to be scolded and moralized for who/what they were, and they were sick of having this is the way you in society should be BS rammed in their face in every single thing they watched. As a result, hate code movies were being absolutely outcompeted by foreign non-code films. Some American directors got sick of this and then actively broke the code even if it meant they would lose the support of Hollywood. This resulted in movies like Some Like It Hot, which ended up outperforming other movies of the time, since instead of delivering the usual preachy nonsense and having a bunch of content removed and censored, it just told its story and the way I wanted to tell it, words and all. Other directors then followed suit. Eventually the Hays Code collapsed since no one was obeying its rules. This resulted in an explosion of classic movies. For example, the Godfather movies would have been banned under the Hays Code. The Hays Code primarily was against leftists, communists and hippies, and the code was created to prevent them from altering the morality of society and causing a shift in society. Don't know if you know much about the 60s and 70s, but if you do, you'll know the shift happened anyway. The Hays Code did nothing to stop it. And we're now seeing the exact same thing now, just another way around. Politically media being made, preaching to people how they should be, and people are tuning out and finding alternatives, just like they did back then. Turns out people, regardless of their political leanings, don't want to see a lecture, they just want to see a good movie. Who knew, right? Yeah, but the thing is that Netflix is still out competing. Like, you're right, but if Netflix falls, right, Netflix has two options: either change or collapse, and that's not gonna happen for years, possibly decades. Today, Libs TikTok gained 150k followers, starting Substack with $50 subscription fee, began receiving a salary by the Babylon Bee to continue tweeting, and once again went on America's most watched news show. And this shows that cancel culture has gone way too far. My favorite thing is when people, in trying to prove that cancel culture isn't real or downplay it, they give examples of all the times it didn't work. It's like saying murder isn't real but posting attempted murder cases. The content of this tweet can be explained though. Leftists weaponize censorship on a massive scale throughout media, universities and other institutions as a form of self-defense. The right create a framework to support those that this happens to. A further downside of this though is now the right is doing it back. The video games, metal, music, Dungeons and Dragons, Recrouch made a comeback, and censorship has become a more common weapon of the right. Basically, we're going to end up with mad, but with speech. I don't know what mad is. Happy wee day, even though I don't play as anymore. Personal choice or medical. Baby was born and stopped. Didn't even mean to. I didn't even realise until my wife pointed it out. It also gives you more time to tweet, Marcus. I don't understand how you beat Elden Ring, or I don't even know you did, but you've gotten pretty far in Elden Ring. I don't know how you did that when you're tweeting all the time. Democrat and Republican both want to put a boot in your neck. The boot may look different, but it's still a boot. Libertarian, anarchist, agorist, they're the paths out. The field is ripe for a Ron Paul or Perot style outsider to come and explain how we're getting bent over. Or for no politicians to come in. Childish turbo LARP detective. Edgy theories about governance. Oh, it's the guy who needs the government to wipe his ass. I see you're doubling down with the dumb things 16-year-olds think are clever aesthetic in this thread. I would take this L and move on. If I were you, this ain't going to go well, just like the last one. In case you forgot, you ended up claiming that you had an answer but couldn't share because it was such a revolutionary revolutionary idea. You get banned from Twitter just for saying it. Remember that? I pretty much gave you all the pieces for the jigsaw and you still couldn't figure it out and said you wanted me to say something that would get me banned. All while LARPing as some alpha that bends over when it's paycheck day. Buddha just lit a candle, not sure why. Sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning all the time. Hippity hoppity, ANCAPs and libertarians are clueless about what it takes to share the ownership of property. LMFAO says the guy who supports the government that literally steals your property. I genuinely laugh there, thank you. If we didn't have Zelensky for clearly funding a military, then we wouldn't have one. Our nation would get Castro budged by the military of some nearby nation because they're not drum circle libertarian brainlets refuse to stop funding them. Theirs. This is how the world works outside of the hypothetical idea space of your Cheeto Dusty YouTube home studio. Our nation is adversaries. We have to invest in national security. Someone has to pay for that. The free rider problem exists. I get it, so it's perfectly okay for the government to steal and seize property of its citizens to protect us from a foreign nation who might steal and seize our property in a war that the states themselves started with each other, not the citizens. You're right, how correct you are. Only a brain with very few wrinkles would be against such a sensible system. It makes so much damn sense. How can I not see it before? Sorry, what's your point? That is not fair. Nation states behave the way they do. Okay, I agree. Have a little cry and I won't. Can't believe you're upset about people stealing from you. Is only a take that could come down from a raging bootlicker. Look, let me extend an olive branch. I get it. You're unable to take care of yourself and you need your dad to do it for you. Makes you much less of a man. But hey, I get it. You need a lot of help and you're quite happy for the government to give you 10p of service for every £1 it steals from you. If that's what you like, that's fine. But could the rest of us maybe be given a choice? You know, maybe we could opt out of that system since it's extremely damaging to us. That way you get to live in your utopia that gets dragged and constant wars your state starts where it steals your money and inflates the crap out of it and the rest of us can get on with not licking boot. How about it? Deal? Out of interest, what is your plan if everyone in the Western Hemisphere all opt out? We'll end up with no military and eventually a CCP Russia coalition roll in and offer you pay tax or go to the gulag. Do not pass go, do not collect 200. I don't think the CCP would ever team up with Russia, and even if they did, one of them would end up betraying and just totally screwing over the other. Personally, I would like to see the CCP destroyed. Here the invasions usually happen to preserve hegemony. No competing states exist. They most likely would turn on each other while invade a non-threat. Also, this is where I say private military contractors and security services, then you poo-poo the idea, then I get to flip it around on you by pointing out that's exactly what states do. I'd just rather skip that part. Yeah, I would, so I could save breath and space. Also, guess what types of entities states buy their military hardware from? It'll blow your mind. Yeah, entities and countries with giant military budgets funded by taxpayers. Because the free rider problem would result in virtually no capital being volunteered for military spending, and the small amount volunteered would be invested locally, uncoordinated, and nowhere near sufficient to deal with a tax from nation state scale military. Well, capital currency currently is not volunteered, it's stolen by force, and opt out means you don't get defense, you don't get a service you don't pay for. You would source your defense elsewhere. What proof? So you have that it would be uncoordinated, but you don't know PMCs, do you? Also, you say it wouldn't be sufficient at all. What proof do you have for this, or is this just another assumption? You think military spending is enough to win a war? Pretty sure I don't have the burden of proof here. You don't have the burden of proof for the claim that you made. All the world's major modern powers of state operate militaries. You said nowhere near sufficient to deal with attacks from a nation-state scale military. Are you going to provide any evidence at all of this. If not, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Georgia, Laos, Northern Ireland, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Kuwait would look like a word. Which of those didn't have nation state funding behind them? I don't know why I said that. Please be over. How about funding an even bigger military by extracting tax out of the economic activity of its non-coordinated and defenseless inhabitants? How are they defenseless? They have hired PMCs and contractors. You know that's something places can do, right? In fact, they do it all the time, and an even bigger military for who the only other state is Russia. Like, how can you as an adult still not realise that in all your preaching about defence, etc., not know that the government is just a massive middleman between citizens and the private companies that provide that very service? Do you know what the free rider problem is? No. Enlighten me. Some private companies, and yes, they do it for your stolen funds. Yes, I agree with you. Now, how about we totally cut out the middleman and do it for your consent? Or are you quite happy with your socialism preaching? Because the free rider problem would result in virtually no... Wait, I already said that. All of them except Kuwait. Also, this is for you. Oh, God. It's not even any green text. Listen, you fantastically retarded person. I'm going to try and explain this so you can understand it. You cannot control an entire country and its people with tanks, jets, battleships, and drones, or any of these things that you so stupidly believe trumps citizens' ownership of firearms. A fighter jet, tank, drone, battleship, or whatever cannot stand on street corners and enforce no assembly. I can't read this, man. It's too pixelated. Ethics. A figure jet cannot kick down your door at 3 a.m. search your house for contraband. None of these things can maintain the needed police state to completely subjugate and enslave the people of the nation. Their weapons for disseminating, flattening, glassing, or screw it. How are you going to create a coordinated, privately funded defense force that doesn't also protect people that opt out? You've grossly misunderstood me then. I can opt out of the state's FAF policy attacks, meaning I do not get any protection from the state. I personally, however, can source my own private defense from other companies who offer it. If there is no state military and instead a privately operated defense capability prevents military aggression from another nation succeeding, then anyone who opted out gets the benefit without investing. That's not how it works, since the PMCs would only defend the customers who actually pay for them. Any property that doesn't pay them is not their responsibility and would not be defended. There literally can't be freeholders. And you generally expect this configuration to be a sufficient deterrence to a modern state-operated military. Literally, yes. You seem to be thinking that they are not all going to cooperate and communicate with each other should such an event happen. But at several points during the very long Afghan war, there are more PMCs than state soldiers. Where did the funding come from, and what was their objective? Private citizens investing in the greater good of their shared lands? No. Oh my god, well, the funding could have come directly from the people who required defending if the government had not banned them from hiring such services, stolen their money, and created a monopoly in defence. PMCs don't work unless the government does it. Also, how would the people be able to afford it? Only the government can afford it with all the money they get from people. My guy, you have to stop. It's L after L. I didn't say PMCs don't work. I said they wouldn't be sufficiently funded because of the free rider problem with privately funded militaries. What's the difference between what you say you didn't say and what you said? The free rider problem has already been disproven since free riders could literally not exist in the system, okay? So, just so I can be clear as to what your point is, pretty much every single citizen will want protection and will be happy to pay for it with the company of their choosing. You'd be pretty hard pressed to find someone who wouldn't want to pay for some kind of PMC or private police protection. This results in several companies having a lot of customers and generating huge surplus capital, resulting in essentially because it's voluntarily and funding protection from the nation state scale adversaries clearly suffers from the free rider problem. Okay, that has already been disproved hard. Go back to the other thread so you can see the explanation again. Okay, so there's something else. There's a lot else. Okay, not that much actually. What does free English women gaslight a man into accepting emotional / verbal abuse from a potential significant other? And shut up, Will. Yeah, I have no idea what any of these people are saying. The only people who will defend and excuse button pushing because they enjoy abusing a person are people who like abusing a person by pushing the buttons. Never understood button pushing who actually wants an argument. I'll tell you someone who actually wants an argument, Mark. Mike Kelly, 85. Also, Mike Kelly, 85. Could you please stop picking fights with Marcus so I don't have to do this? That's not how it works. They're investing in it because they want the statehood at the other end of it. It's not even remotely comparable to the social configuration you're proposing. You're right, that's not how it works, since people would only pay for the defense of their own property that they own. Growing UWT developing, I think that I might actually get you close to understanding what libertarianism is. I understand the theory is not very complicated. In practice, what you're suggesting would suffer massive underinvestment because of the free rider problem. You obviously don't think so, but you admitted earlier you didn't even know what it is. Oh my god, your free rider problem was disproved. It does not exist. Do you have literally anything else other than a disproved argument? Bro, the free rider problem is a well-documented collective action problem. It's not something I just came up with. Okay, I figured out a really easy way to make you understand. What do you do for a living? Not asking for docs or anything. Even some very vague term. Oh, exact same system we have now, but far better since the government has been removed as a middleman. Customers have full choice, and also no wars of aggression that people are forced to pay for. So it's essentially the exact same system. But you won't. But you think it won't work because it's voluntary and running. But what? The hell's up with Twitter today? I think I've got everything.